Okay, so Barack Hussein Obama has come out from, under the rock that he's been hiding under for, however long it's been. But he came out to support Kamala Harris. But more importantly, he came out to shame African American males for not voting or supporting Kamala Harris because, he said so. It's interesting. You know that they're desperate. They're absolutely desperate. The Democrats are desperate when you get Obama to come out and support this lady. So I'm going to play the video, and we're going to talk about it.
And just speak some truths, if you don't mind.
Truths. Yeah, I mean, the truth, or somebody's truth can be somewhat subjective.
Because my understanding, based on reports I'm getting from campaigns and communities, is that we have not yet seen the same kinds of energy and turnout in all quarters of our neighborhoods and communities as we saw when I was running.
Yeah, no shit, because you're not running. All right, sorry.
Now, I also want to say that seems to be more pronounced with the brothers.
The brothers? With the brothers? Oh, so now he's going into the black son. Okay. The brothers. Okay.
So if you don't mind, just for a second, I'm going to speak to y'all directly. And say that when you have a choice that is this clear, when on the one hand you have somebody who grew up like you.
All right, now he's talking to, I guess this is Pennsylvania. He's talking to, I guess, African-American males in Pennsylvania. How did Kamala Harris grow up like them when she lived in San Francisco for some time, and I think she moved to Canada when she was, I guess, 11? No, I'm sorry. She moved to Canada to go to high school. She grew up, fairly well off. I mean, her two parents were professors. I guess her father is Jamaican, but what his exact ancestry is, story for another video. The mother, Kamala's mother, is Indian. Grew up in India and came here as an adult, I guess, to go to college, something like that. But Kamala Harris somehow grew up like them, living in Canada in a very wealthy neighborhood, going to college in Canada. She went to high school in Canada, obviously. Then she came back to the States. And then she went to Howard University. I'm trying to figure out how she was raised by an Indian woman because the parents were divorced, and she grew up like them. Okay.
Knows you. Went to college with you.
She went to college with you. Okay.
Understands the struggles and pain and joy that comes from those experiences.
What struggles and pain and joy did she endure when she grew up fairly wealthy, lived in Canada for a good number of years? As an attorney, I mean, she was on the...
Had to work harder and do more. And
how did she have to work harder and do more? I mean, if by work harder you mean that, she was blowing whatever his name was from the mayor of San Francisco, I guess she did work harder. But I mean, think about it. She was 29 years old and she was dating him. I believe he's 30 years older than her. There's pretty much no doubt that the reason why she's gotten to where she's gotten to is because of her relationship with I think it was Willie Brown. I think that was his name. So I don't know how she worked harder than everybody. I guess in certain ways she did. All right, we move on.
Overcome and achieves the second highest office in the land.
I wouldn't say she exactly achieved the highest second office in the land. She was a DEI hire. Biden effectively said it himself. He said that he was going to hire a black female as vice president. I mean, even before he selected her. So that goes to show you that he wasn't hiring the best person for the job. He already had it in his mind that he needed to hire a so-called person of color and a female.
And is putting forward concrete proposals to directly address the things that are vital.
She hasn't put forward any concrete offers. No.
In our neighborhoods and our communities, from housing to making sure that our mothers and our fathers and our grandparents can afford medicine, and making sure that we are dealing with prices that are too high and rents that are.
How is she dealing with prices that are too high? She's been the vice president for 3.5 years. She said herself that she wouldn't change anything Biden did. So, oh, Jesus.
Too high, and are committed to making sure that we maintain the Affordable Care Act. So everybody's got help here, and cares about things like education and entrepreneurship in our neighborhoods. And that's on one side. And on the other side, you have someone who has consistently shown disregard, not just for the communities, but for you as a person.
You know what's interesting? When they talk about Trump, they try to say that he hurt minorities, people of color, black people. I mean, Kamala Harris was the one that was actually putting them in jail. Some people that were innocent, some people that she knew were innocent, using them as slave labor as well, and not letting them get out of jail when they were supposed to get out of jail. So I don't know how Trump hurt these people, but Kamala didn't. I don't know.
And you're thinking about sitting out? I'm not. But Cousin Pookie might be.
Cousin Pookie?
And you're coming up with all kinds of reasons and excuses. I've got a problem with that.
But who the hell are you to have a problem with that? It's amazing how this guy, Barry Obama, it's amazing how a guy who is, he's not even African American. I mean, you can say that he's black. I mean, the father was African, where he was from Africa, right? The mother's white. He grew up in Hawaii. He was raised by his white grandparents. So, I mean, he's not really, I would say, African American. I mean, I guess technically, but I don't understand how he's lecturing people that, I just don't understand this mentality that he's talking down to black men and trying to shame them into voting. If you know anything about men in general, men don't like to be talked down to, so, and told what to do, like, you should vote this way. Like, he's commanding people, like, you should vote this way. That doesn't work with men, I mean, I'm not black. I mean, I may be actually blacker than Kamala Harris, story for another video. But my point is, men in general don't want to be talked down to, especially by somebody like him.
Because part of it makes me think, and I'm speaking to men directly now.
See, speaking to men directly. Okay. All right.
Part of it makes me think that, well, you just aren't feeling the idea of having a woman as president.
You see, this is a shaming tactic. He's trying to go to, it's because she's a woman. No, it's because people just don't like her policies. Why can't people be allowed to vote for who they want to vote for, regardless of race, ethnicity, even party for that matter? Why does it have to be, it's because she's a woman? And this is the same exact game that the left plays continuously with the identity politics, and they use color and sex as a shield for any sort of criticism, any sort of pushback on their ideas, So this is just the same nonsense.
And you're coming up with other alternatives and other reasons for that.
So it's not that you don't agree with the policies, right? It's because, you're coming up with other reasons because you're a sexist. Okay.
And I think anybody you are talking to in a barbershop, anybody you are talking to in your house, in your family, at church, who is coming with that kind of attitude.
Yeah, you know what he's saying? You know what that type of attitude is? Thinking for yourself, making a decision for yourself. Not that whole mob think, not being shamed into voting, for somebody. And he's basically, pushing back on freedom, which is ironic when you're talking about African Americans, right? You get into the history of slavery and how they didn't have freedom. Right now, we all have freedom to vote, right? And vote for who we would want, who we want to vote for. And he's basically saying, no, get back over here. I'm going to tell you who to vote for.
I think you have to ask them, well, how can that be? Because the women in our lives have been getting our backs this entire time.
What is he talking about? The women in our lives have had our back. What does that have to do with anything? Like, if you don't like her policies and you don't want to vote for her, what does that have to do with women? Women, and I just don't. But again, I see what he's trying to do here.
They've been raising us and working and having our backs. And when we get in trouble and the system's not working for us.
The system, Kamala Harris, and I'm going to keep saying Kamala Harris was part of that same system that put African American men in jail. So what is he talking about right now? Jesus Christ.
They're the ones who were out there marching and protesting. And so now you're thinking about sitting out or even supporting somebody who has a history of denigrating you?
Yeah, he's denigrating. Yeah. Trump has a history of denigrating you, yeah. Uh-huh.
Because you think that's a sign of strength? Because that's what being a man is?
You see what he did there? Notice how he never addresses her policies, like her exact policies versus Trump's policies. He's doing this play on emotions, and I mean this is liberal thinking. It's also the female thinking to a degree, but I digress. But it's all about emotion, and no facts. He's not addressing why people are voting for Trump, why men are voting for him, why African American men are voting for him. He's going into this, you think that's what being a man is. No, maybe they don't like him personally, but they just agree with the policies. Sometimes it's as simple as that. You might not like the person personally, but you just want to vote for the policies, right? Which is the way that it should be. I'm not going to vote for somebody because I think, they're nice, they're well-spoken, but all their policies are going to hurt me and hurt this country, but I'm going to vote for them. I mean, that is a childlike and stupid mentality to have.
Putting women down? That's not acceptable.
That's not acceptable. What is he going to call? He's going to call Big Mike to spank everybody for not voting for Kamala. This is a joke. But anyway, I mean, I could go on and on about Obama, but I just wanted to cover the video, and I'm going to be back covering a little bit more politics now, as we get closer to the election. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you soon.